All right, we're here with Kelly, and she's going to have a light layering haircut on hers. Now, this will be light layers throughout the head form, so it's kind of movable all the way around. Now, I'm leaving hers very long. She'll probably be one of my almost longest light layering. But this was a really neat haircut because when someone wants their hair long and they still want to have those light layers in there for movement, this is a good one to go for when they don't want it short layers. So the way I'm going to do this, I already have her sectioned off, and I'll show you this. I have a horseshoe shaping in the top. I've got that sectioned out already. That's already done. Middle of the ear, which really separates the front and the back. Then in the back, I've sectioned out a little horizontal section. So we'll start right at the bottom, and she has allowed me 2 inches to take off. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And it'll make a big difference. 2 inches right there. Now, the way I have this section, and you see it's nice and blunt, I converge to the center, and you can see exactly where that's at. Now, let's take another section. And if you section it off like this, it makes long hair go real much easier, much faster, because you don't have to do all that combing through and still section. So I'll just pull it down, and getting this perimeter 2 inches, I am going to come back and just do a little bit of point cutting just so I have a little more movement in those ends and it's not ultra blunt. Now let's let another down, one more down, another horizontal parting. I'm going to also converge this to the center, because 9 times out of 10 where people make mistakes is right in this area. If they don't leave this hair long enough, you don't want to have that shorter. Let's point cut it a little bit while we're in the area. Keeping those ends nice and soft. Let's let one more down. One more, and it just goes step by step. You can have this long haircut in no time at all by doing it this way. Just come back, lift it up a little, because we can have this perimeter a little lighter. And just lift up, do a little point cutting in there. Let's lift the whole thing up and lighten that up just a little more. You can see where the hair drops out. We can lighten this a little. Now, we have the back cut. Now we're going to take the front, and you see Kelly only has a very small amount of hair in front. So if I were to cut more of this back here, we'd have a big gap in here. Now, just comb it right down. I don't have quite 2 inches to take off the front. Just about. Just doing a horizontal cut. We'll come right around. That's going to be a nice length. We'll come right around to the other side. You see it just moves right through, measuring back to front, back to front, checking this way. Now we're going to let the top down. Let all of that top down, and we'll decide which direction this hair. I think it's telling me right here. Am I close, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. Just comb it in the natural fall and clean up the edges. Let's get a little more water on here. It's dried out on me a little bit. Not to mess up the makeup. Now I'm combing down just over the natural fall of the hair. You see why I let that little horseshoe shaping up there in the top? It just, you go from one to the other, going right through. Now that we've got that, let's point it just a little. Let's go to the other side, just combing on the natural fall line and take off the top, right where the hair falls. Still going to have a lot of long hair, but it'll have a whole lot more movement in it. Just getting it all the way around. Want to make sure you comb it in the natural fall. we've got it all done. Now we're going to comb the hair down. The first thing we do on a light layering is to get that hanging perimeter. We've decided on that. Now here's where we're going next. We're going to take, she doesn't have bangs, but we want to take just a little off this front. This will be our guide to where we'll put the layers in the top. So let's take a little bit from each side, and we'll take about an inch off of the front. And then we're going to go from there to the longest part on the side, and we'll just clean that line up so we'll have a nice edge there going down to the longer part. You don't want to go any further back than the middle of this ear, so you want to go just from there to the long part. Same thing on the other side. You have a guide from this side too. Remember, we took a piece right here, so we're just going in there and cleaning that same amount up. About an inch off here is what I think we're taking. And that'll leave Kelly enough hair so she won't be mad at me. Got to keep the models happy. If they're happy, we're happy. Now, we're going to put the layers in our hair. Now, because this is this length here, this is going to be my guide for the top. I'll go short to longer, and it's going to be long layers, but it'll be consistent throughout. So judging on where you cut that front is where you put your layers in. And you have to decide that up front before you ever start. So I'll take a little piece from each side of the part, and we'll just pull it upwards, and we'll go right by the piece we cut in the front. And sure enough, there's about an inch to come off of there. Can you get that, Craig? Yeah, you got it. Okay, that's our guideline now for both sides. All right. I can take a good bit of Kelly's hair. I can take almost one side because it's not as thick here as it is on the other side. So I have my hanging perimeter and I have my top. So I'll just blend the two together, and in falls the nice layers. One step back because we're using a traveling guide to create these light layers. So and I'm able to take a little bit bigger section on her because the hair is long and it's not as thick in this area. So you got to judge that accordingly. And one more section back, and we'll work right around the head form, and we'll have absolutely gorgeous light layers in her hair. Long light layers. But wow, does it give it lots of movement. Rather than just having their hair hanging in with no movement or all one length, you'll get a lot more movement in this. Let's take it from the top, get that line in there, and the layers fall down consistently. Now, let's go back around to the other side, and we'll start over right at the front. Wow, this hair's drying out on me, but I'm liking the way it's doing, so I'm not going to wet it anymore. I love cutting the hair almost until it's dry, because you really see how the hair is going to fall, how it's going to work. Just from my guide right in the top, and we're taking off about an inch off that top layer. Working around the head form. If you follow this method, you'll never go wrong, but you decide up front, what type layers do I want? And this is one you'll use over and over and over, because long hair, people with long hair love their long hair, but they also love a shape in the hair. And you'll see with Kelly's, what we're going to do is we'll probably maybe dry her out smooth, and then we'll add curl to it so you can see what happens when we add the curl. Because you have a solid shape and a form, and then you add curl or wave, and it totally changes how it looks. It could become something totally different. Now I've just about got this. Oh yeah, we got it. We met ourselves there. So as Kelly's hair is drying out, you can see already, you can see how the movement and how the fullness is beginning to shape in there, and how it's going to lay just right around her face very nicely. That's even before it's even starting to be dried. You can see all that movement in there. Then this is our longer light layering, using our traveling guide, making those layers in there consistently. We're here with Kelly, and we have her finished heavy layering cut. Now we started this, you can adjust the heavy layering. The nice thing with this cut is you can start, now we started hers, the other two we started much lower. Kelly's we started right at the chin area, and then you know, took everything to that using a stationary guide to here. And again, I cut one cut here and one cut at the back, and it's done. And it gives her that nice softness around her face, keeps her length, and just lifts the weight off of there instead of it just hanging all one length. It really has all that nice movement in there, and it can really, you know, make a whole lot better look for her. And the people who have long hair want to have a shape in their hair. So this is just a wonderful shape to go to when you want to have a little shape in the long hair and you don't want it to be too short. This is the one I would choose, the heavy layering. And this is Kelly.